This is Jambo Radio. Residents of a Paisley Street were evacuated on Monday the 2nd of September after a dramatic incident with reports of somebody with a flamethrower. Properties on George Place, George Street and Story Street had to be evacuated, and the streets surrounding them were sealed off with a large emergency presence in the area. The police has said that a car had been set alight, and there were also reports of another fire being set in front of the Precious Palms shop on Cawsey Street at around 8:20 am. Concerns are growing for a man missing from Glasgow who was last seen dressed in black. Lee Niven was last seen in Bishopbriggs on Sunday the 1st of September at around 7 am. Police are growing increasingly concerned for the welfare of Lee and are appealing to anyone who knows his whereabouts to get in touch by contacting Police Scotland on 101, quoting 1786 of Sunday the 1st of September 2024. Nearly £200 million of public money has been spent on the 4 public inquiries currently taking place in Scotland. The Scottish Government has paid £150.4 million in costs, but BBC Scotland has now identified a further £36.4 million in costs for the dozens of public bodies taking part. The prison population in England and Wales has hit a record high after the riots. There are 88,350 people in jail, a rise of 998 in just a month, according to data released by the Ministry of Justice on Friday the 30th of August. The figures passed after 116 people were jailed in the last week, taking the prison population to its highest level since weekly figures were first published in 2011. And now for Africa News. Pregnant women in South Africa have access to HIV testing and antiretroviral therapy at health facilities, but health officials in Gauteng are concerned that babies are still being born with HIV even though there is free medication aimed at preventing mother-to-child transmission. In the first half of the year, Gauteng, South Africa, which encompasses Johannesburg and Pretoria and has a population of over 15 million, saw the birth of 232 babies diagnosed with HIV. The issue of mother-to-child transmission of HIV is a great concern for UNAIDS, which reports that there are 120,000 new infections each year in children aged 14 and younger across the globe. And that's the latest from Jambo Newsroom. I'm Andrew Bainey.
Established in 2006 as one of Glasgow's original mobile massage therapists, we deliver high-quality treatments with the ambition to forge permanent relations with clientele. We specialise in on-site massage, a type of treatment that has been specifically designed to complement the convenience and availability of massage at work. It is performed with the use of a specialist mobile chair, without the use of oils or the need to remove clothing. At Massage & Glow, we believe that massage should be a part of your everyday lifestyle. Regular massage not only relieves stress and tension, but also stimulates blood circulation, can help with pain management, and promotes good mental health. A must for your busy schedule. Various holistic therapies available. Contact us now on 07530 905 152 for your mobile massage therapist.
It's time for a cultural bonanza. The Black and White Cultural Gala is one of its kind in Scotland. Join us to celebrate the rich and diverse cultures of Scotland. Come and immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of the African cultures. Enjoy a cultural gala of beautiful regalia and delicious food that make our communities unique. It's a night to honour our heritage through food, music and dance. Special guest artist Shay Longtom Yu. Official DJ Manu. Get ready to enjoy performances, traditional dance and captivating music ensembles. Don't miss this entertaining cultural exhibition and culinary delights from Cameroon. On Saturday 14th of September at one of Glasgow's finest, newest and exclusive venue, the home of the great event, Park Lane Loft. 82 Orr Street in Bridgeton, Glasgow, G40 2QF. Event starts 5:30 p.m. until midnight. Secure your ticket now and prepare for a night of glamour and celebration. Entry ticket available now online for £20 at jamboradio.co.uk. £30 at the door before 9 p.m. Dinner served before 9 p.m. at affordable prices. Do not miss. Dress code. Embrace the theme with your best black and white attire or your traditional regalia to enjoy the sophisticated atmosphere of the evening. This cultural gala is going to be an unforgettable evening. Get your ticket now.
Across the World Wide Web, on your mobile devices, on social media platforms, this is Jambo Radio! www.jamboradio.co.uk. We are multilingual. We are conversational in the languages you best understand. We are Jambo Radio! Jambo Radio, inspiring transformation.
Hello and welcome to TouchPoint with Tayo on Jambo Radio, where everything matters. You do know that everything matters here on TouchPoint with Tayo. I'm your host, Tayo Owueye, and TouchPoint. We engage African realities. We explore vital issues that concerns Africa and Africans in diaspora. We educate minds and we touch on trendy issues. Today on TouchPoint with Tayo, we are going on a new horizon. And why are we going on a new horizon? We want to explore the issues of redefining career path and job market mindsets. For migrants, fine. For workers, anywhere in the world, we are here for it today. And I have my guest live in the house here in a Jambo Radio studio, live from the city of Glasgow. He is a chartered accountant. He's a finance and risk management. I'll also call him a CEO. Yes, it does look like one. If you see him, you know that it looks like one. Yeah. He is Mr. Damilare Olujide. Hey, Damir, you're welcome to TouchPoint. How are you today?
Very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wow, wonderful. So you seem so simple, simply dressed. Your face is shy. Thank you for joining us on TouchPoint with Tayo today. You can join the conversation on Jambo Radio, Scotland social media handles. Just as you're watching live on every of our social media handles, you can join on YouTube as you're joining right now on Jambo Radio Scotland. You can also join and message us on Facebook too, which is Jambo Radio Scotland. Also on Twitter, which is now called X, jamboradio.scot. And on Instagram at jamboradio.scotland. You can also email us on info@jamboradio.co.uk. Send us your comments, send us your questions. Let's tete together. Let's discuss. Let's be in this conversation together. We are talking about new horizons, redefining career paths and job market mindset. Let me start this on a very low level key, Dami. If you were to look at career paths and job market mindset, and you want to tell our audience two truths and one lie about professional life in the UK or among migrants or anywhere in the world, what would that be?
So I think two truths that I believe almost every migrant should be able to relate with is information is power and networking is everything. Because I would say those two are very important, because in this type of environment you need information to survive. You need information to grow in your career or even personal life and other aspects of your life here in the UK. I mean, basically, information is power almost everywhere, even in Nigeria and other West African countries or other countries where migrants usually come from. But in this place, it's a very valuable resource because you don't always have people willing to bring or give you that information. So sometimes you have to do the extra work to get that information. And then why I said networking is also everything is because the people you know, or the people that you associate with, are able to give you a type of helping hand. So for instance, you want to apply to an organization, you probably reach out to someone on LinkedIn who you see that is working in that organization.
Yeah.
And then they can tell you, okay, if you're going to apply for a position in this organization, this is probably how you should probably tailor your CV. This is how you should go about studying for the interview.
Yeah.
They're not basically telling you what the questions are going to be, but they are kind of putting you in the path for success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think what I'll say is a lie is the system is against you. So I noticed that like a lot of us, and I'm also guilty about for that, because when I came initially, I had this mentality which I had to shift from, that maybe the system is against us because we are not from here, because we are migrants. But after spending some time here in the system and also trying to understand, speaking to people, making the right relationships, I have been able to discover that the system is actually not against you. You just have to know how to work the system and work it to your own advantage.
3 things you've said. Information is power, networking is everything, and the system is not built against you. It is working for you. Yeah. For our younger viewers who may be thinking, what is career path? What is career transition? Because these are things that we may be talking about today. Is there any simple way or any symbolic or graphical way to represent that for our younger viewers?
Yes. Okay, so I'll try to use this analogy. So you see your career path as, say for instance, you're going from, say, Glasgow to Motherwell, and you're probably on the M9, on the express, you're going, and you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So in this case, if I switch it back to your career, for instance, you started in finance, you started as an associate, so your aim is to probably get to the level of a CFO. So that is like the path, it's still in finance, it's still what you're used to, and then you can take that path and get to your destination.
Yeah.
Then for transition is, you started in finance, but then you're saying, oh, okay, I think I would like to go into something like tech, maybe cybersecurity, software engineering, software testing, project management, and then you're now, leaving that road that you're supposed to travel on, and then you're switching to something different, which is not what you initially started with. So basically, that's what the transition is.
Okay. Could we also call that like a bus stop? We just pick something up in that place and you're back on the road.
I mean, I mean, it's fair to say it's a bus stop. It's a minor stop while you figure out what you want to do. So
Let's talk about the theme of transition here. Last week, I was talking to we had a guest here, Egbenga Shubake, and there was this statistics that I read out, a very, very vital one. He said in 2002, it was from the University of Oxford. He said in 2022, the stats about Africans East and Southeast Asia says that they're more likely to work in health and care sectors, and 42% of sub-Saharan African workers were care workers. Another says highly educated migrant workers are often overqualified for their jobs. That is, their education level is above that typically required for the job in which they're doing. My question is this. We look at the statistics of migrant workers and the nature of the job. And what do you think is responsible for this trend? Do you think this trend is going to be an unending one, either for a persona, for someone seeking new career path, or is it a choice, or is it lack of choice situation? What is happening here?
So, and based on the statistics that you've provided, I can say to an extent it's actually very accurate, and I wouldn't say it's a lack of choice or it's a choice. I think it's based on individual situations and circumstances. So I think one thing we need to try and get straight and understand is being overqualified in terms of certifications, level of education, does not generally makes you qualified for a particular role. So I think it's important that when you get into a system that is different from where you come from, you try to understand the system you're in to know, what exactly I'm dealing with. So if you've noticed very well, in the UK and a lot of developed countries, they're more concerned with your ability to do that job than the certificates you hold. Not that they do not appreciate your certificates, but then they appreciate it more when you're able to do the job. And I'll give an example. I know of people in very structured organizations, top 4 audit, EY, KPMG, and the rest. And then you have people that, after, they're done with secondary school, they're, A levels, they come and start working as interns for 3-4 years, learning on the job. You might just come from Nigeria. Yes, you have maybe your ICANN, or you have maybe, say, ACCA. You have some experience, maybe 1 year, 2 years experience working as an accountant. If the both of you are going to apply for a role, there's a very high chance they're going to pick the other person because they have the experience, they know how to do the job. Because at the end of the day, you are in the role, you're going to render a service. Whoever you're rendering the service to is not going to, the first question the person is going to ask is not going to be, sorry, what certificate do you have? It's going to be, can you do the job? Can you deliver?
Yes.
So I think that is one, concept everybody has to understand. And then also, like I said, it depends on the situation. Some people are in the country as migrants, they probably come in as students.
Yeah.
You're limited to the number of hours you can work, so sometimes you can't actually get a full-time job that would give you, that opportunity to work for where you feel you're qualified for. And then you have to work in maybe things like, healthcare and the rest, pending when you eventually switch. I think another thing is also because, when it comes to, your legal requirements to work and to stay in the country.
Yes.
Because of how the system is built, if you're running out of time, your visa is about to expire, sometimes people are, they have no choice but to go for what is available. So in that particular situation, you can't exactly blame them and say, maybe they're not pushing themselves or they're not going for something that is more career fulfilling.
Yeah.
But I think that, I'll end by saying it's not bad if you start in those type of roles. I think it's just best if you're able to develop yourself, work on yourself to get, to that particular role that you feel you're qualified for, and not settling for, what is available here.
Okay, so how do you think previous experiences prepare or shape one in their approach towards this new career path? Either they're working an overqualified job, which could be temporarily, I don't know, or something that someone said, oh, this is the job that is available for me, so let me just keep doing this else and care work stuff.
So I would go back to what I said from the beginning about the truth, which is information is power.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not privy to the information that they can actually do certain things. You come in and some people tell you, oh no, you know what, you can't do better than healthcare. Just go and get a care job or get something in the healthcare. Not like there's anything wrong with that. There are people that do that have fulfillment in those roles, and there's no issue with that. But the thing is, if you want to do something different and then you don't have the right information, and you believe that you just have to go through this particular path. Someone tells you, oh, you have to go through healthcare, there's no other way. And then you don't do your own independent research. You don't ask other people to ask, obviously if you check online, you see other, migrants that are in, structured organizations, in financial sectors, other senior health sectors and everything. So you could always reach out to them and, ask them, how did you go about this? Did you have to write maybe another type of certification? Did you have to go for some type of training, in order for you to qualify for, these roles? Did you have to start somewhere? Because another thing too, you also have to notice is most times organizations here would, often prefer people who have experience working in their system, rather than someone who has no experience working in their system. So sometimes you also have to start little, and by starting little, you could start with an entry-level role, maybe in operations, admin, customer service, and then from there try to push yourself when the opportunity arises.
It's a new system.
Yeah,
you're just coming into a system. It's like you're being born into system, there is that path of crawling first. And that part of crawling, I don't know whether that agrees with what that part of crawling is, when one does some overqualified jobs. Does that match it? And how can one identify the skill that you have from your previous career or job that can be transferable into that, even though you are crawling? How can you still you are a baby in this system, but you've grown up in one system? How can you bring and transfer those skills to the new field? Or, I mean, even though it may be an overqualified work, or even a new one that you are just qualified for, how can you bring those skills? How can you identify those skills?
So I think most important thing is always have a plan. So whichever organization you're working in, if you're, for instance, you get the opportunity to work in a bank, when you're here, but you're working as maybe something as in a role at, say, customer service. Let me use that as an example. That's a popular example most people can relate with. And maybe when you were back home, you worked in, say, the financial operations department, or treasury, other departments in the bank, commercial banking. And you see that, okay, fine, this is the experience I have, and I believe I'm overqualified for the current role that I'm in. The best thing to do is try to excel in the current role that you're in, and ensure that the people that you're working with know that you're very good at what you do. And the reason why I say ensure they know is because the system here, like I said, is different. In Nigeria, it's a case of, your work will speak for you. If you work hard enough, they will notice. It doesn't really work like that here. You work hard enough, but you also have to say it. So you have to say as
you
much as...
You may even be working like donkey, and
exactly.
They don't just recognize what you do.
Exactly. So you have to say it as much as you're working. When you're having like one-on-ones with your managers or people, you let them know what you're doing. You let them, if you did something little as you think it is, you have to say those things during those meetings. So they get to see that, this person really has the capacity. And then you also have to take advantage of opportunities. Some organizations have internal vacancies. So you see an internal vacancy for a role that you're qualified for, that you did when you were back home. Nothing should stop you from applying for it. Apply and prepare very well for the interview, and then ace it. And
Let's look at the issue of mindset and the shift in mindsets. Migrants are even coming down from the home country to the host country. It's a lot to even settle down. And so several cultural shocks about life, work, study, that is actually making them to feel, wow, this is quite enormous for me to handle. How can I manage in this life? And so what is the function of someone's mindset about one's career transition or change, about work, and even the mindset about success? Success in Africa could be, you have some material wealth, you built a huge house, you are able to buy a big car. And mind us, here, even the Prime Minister, they enter the public transportation. So how does that affect one's mindset? And probably you could also touch point on how that mindset stuff had worked for you in terms of evolving in your career transition. Okay,
so I think the mindset you should have is the mindset of a winner, regardless of your situation, regardless of how you came into the country, with your experience, whether you have the experience, you don't have the experience, you need to have the mindset of a winner. You have to have goals that you've set, and you tell yourself, I'm going to go into maybe the finance sector, I'm going to go into tech. So having a mindset is good, but that is not enough. You also need to get the right information. You need to invest in yourself. And when I mean invest in yourself, if you have to pay for, boot camp trainings, maybe say project management, in business analysis, data analysis, product management, pay for those, for those courses. Take those courses. Invest in your future. if you take out time to invest in those things that are important, you have the mindset and you have that dedication, in a matter of months to a year, there's going to be a huge difference. And the reason why it's actually very good in this type of environment is because the environment we currently reside in actually rewards people who put in the work. So if you've, for instance,
it is a measured metric.
Exactly. So for instance, you came in from Nigeria, maybe you had like a shop, you had like your own business you were doing. You didn't have like maybe a career that, your career line that you brought with yourself into the country. You have to leverage on the things you did while you owned your business. Because when you own your business, for this is like, I'm using this illustration for people like that would say, I didn't maybe work in a bank, I didn't work in a structured organization, how do I transition? Fine, you own the business. When you own the business, you attended to customers, you rendered some form of customer service, you did a lot of cross-selling of your products, you did a lot of marketing of your products, so all those are skills that are transferable. So the other thing to do is to find your area of interest. Do you want to move into tech? If it's tech, what area in tech? You have to do your research, you have to ask people, and that's why I said the thing about networking, network with people, ask people, I want to do cybersecurity, what does it entail? What sacrifices do I have to make? What courses do I have to take? And then take those courses seriously, because there's one thing about paying for courses, there's another thing about being serious about it. So you take it very serious, and then you learn what you need to learn, you try and get an internship. And then after you do an internship for 6 months, for a year, you can try and move into an associate role. And then the good thing about this system again is they provide a lot of training and development. So even if you know what you're doing or you have the experience from 100 years ago or something, they will still train you. So that actually helps to develop that particular goal that you have. So regardless of whatever situation,
so it's not
so you
I'm a master.
Just have the mindset. Exactly.
It's not that I'm a master in this thing. I've been a master.
So you have to have the mindset and be ready to unlearn a lot of things. So because like I said, the system is different.
So the issue of continuous personal and professional development is key.
Very important.
So we'll be going on a break very soon, and I just wanted to quickly just talk about, how would you advise migrant workers on how to handle self-doubt and imposter syndrome when switching to a new industry?
Yes, so
just briefly.
So imposter syndrome is something that I think almost everyone suffers.
You mean everyone?
Almost, I would say almost, because especially if you're switching, from an environment that you're very comfortable to something that is new. It's something that I've suffered from before. People that I know that are close to, they've suffered from it, because you're in a new department or in a new team. You're doing something that's maybe similar to what you've done before, but not exactly the same. And then sometimes you feel like, am I worthy to be in this place? It's a normal feeling to have.
Do I know anything at all?
Exactly. But I think the best way to overcome that is having the right support system around you, having the right people to talk to, having friends, family, mentors to talk to, to help you clear your doubts, and also putting in the work. Very important. If you have to stay maybe an extra hour after work, 2 extra hours after work, just so that you can learn, and try to understand and digest what you're being taught, I think it will help you, overcome that self-doubt and imposter syndrome.
Thank you, Dami. We'll be going on a short break right now, and when we come back, we'll be talking about international job markets. What is happening? How can you find opportunity, and all sort of other discussions that are linked into how to approach job markets and the international level. So after this break, we'll be back after this break. Thank you.
Up in the air, as I dey plant you, they give me the rent. You know you tell me where I'm from there, Baba, thank you. Therefore, not laughing, we love you today. Heaven is how you, they shower your grace. Now you're like, baby, show me the way, Baba, thank you. Lord, you are great, you are greatly to be praised. Cause see, they happen as you talk on, Baba, thank you. Lord, you are great. Lord, you are great, you are greatly to be praised. Cause see, they happen as you talk on, Baba, thank you. Jehovah, who number, can you be my acting? Cause see, they happen as you talk on, Baba, thank you.
condo. Online in your hand,
Oh my daddy, oh, when it's hour, you dey make us sweet, oh. This your grace, oh, in loud, oh, you dey speak for me, oh.
Your grace they overflow from my head down to my toes. Yanni, your love is ever sure. I will let the whole world know. Chineke, now you I dey follow. Lord, you are grace, you are greatly to be praised. Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you. Lord, you are greatly to be praised. Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you. Can you be my Akidiba? Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you. Can you be my Akidiba? Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you.
Papa no dey delay. If I call him, me na cha-cha-cha. Everything I come for me, no get time for yama.
I can't explain the wonders of your presence in my life. Not only you be God, I know it no go fit to life. But you make go Judah. I throw a salam. Oh yeah, me, I praise you forever. Yeah. When you check come, you go know who the blessings they follow. From the north side to the south side, send a Jesus with a show. Lord, you are great. You are ready to be praised. Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you. Lord, you are great. You are ready to be praised. Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you. Can you be my Akidiba? Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you. Can you be my Akidiba? Cause it dey happen as you talk out my mind. Thank you.
Yo, welcome back to TouchPoint with Tayo on Jambo Radio Scotland. I still have my guest with me in the house in the Jambo Radio Scotland studio, live from the city of Glasgow. Damilare Olujide, a chartered accountant, a finance and risk analyst. Dami, you're welcome again. Before we continue, just as you're joining us from all of our social media, you can be part of this conversation. Ask your questions because we're going into the comments section right now on any of our social media handles about new horizons, career path, and job markets, not just only in Africa but internationally, especially for migrants around the world. And I can read quite a number of comments here. Yetunde is saying that information is power and networking is everything. Rose B is also saying information is vital, and Yetunde said the system is not against you. And Olada made mention that speaking to mentors, talking about that point that you need to talk to mentors and others help clear your self-doubts. These are nuggets that are for you to just hold on to while you are navigating international market. Let's talk about international markets. And before we do that, if you have any question during this conversation, please put it onto the chats. We'll definitely make this part of the conversation. Talking about approaching international job market, Dami, what is happening at the international job market now? Is there something positive? Is there something?
Okay, so I'll try and phrase it this way. Based on the conversation we've had over the last 30 minutes, is about having the right mindset. So even if the market is saying something, maybe you're hearing about layoffs, especially maybe in the tech sector, it's important not to totally limit yourself and say, you know what, because this is what the market is saying, I'm not going to even try. I think you'll be selling yourself short. It's just like how, in certain developing countries in Africa, you have cases of people saying, things are getting bad, there's inflation. And we also have people that are buying private jets, people that are owning, millions and billions of dollars.
Even in the inflation
even when people are saying...
So that means you can still make something, even when things are bad.
You can still make something. So I think what to do about, things you hear on, news about, or maybe job shortages and, there not being enough room for people to get employed, is to try and understand what is in demand, what do people need, try to understand what the market is silent about, because bad news travels very far, and that's what most people hear.
Yeah.
So when they're saying, this is what's happening in the job market, there's a lot of layoff, there's a lot of shortages and everything.
Yeah.
Try and look for that silent voice or that silent news that tells you,
there's an opportunity.
There's an opportunity here that I can explore. And that's why, like I said, information is very key. You have to also do your independent research.
Yeah.
You cannot rely on just what you hear on the radio. As simple as taking your phone, doing a quick Google search to look for things that concerns you. For instance, trying to see, what are the current available jobs in the market right now, and trying to see, the skills I currently have, can I transfer the skills to this particular role? What courses do I need to take? What training do I need to undergo to to show myself approved for this particular role?
Let's look at the issue of how, we're going on international markets, the way CVs, resume are being done. You've seen quite a number of CVs, and I can see the laughter. And in terms of tailoring your portfolio to align with your new career goals or anything, what tips would you share with our audience who may be seeking to look for international job? What advice would you give to someone switching careers about even how to stand out in this crowded job market, and link it up with the resume issue?
Yeah. So I think in every situation, in order to stand out, you have to always do extra. You always have to try and do more than what the average Joe is doing. And by doing more, it has to come down to two things: getting the right information, and also investing in yourself. So you want to say apply for jobs, maybe you're from Nigeria, you want to apply for jobs here in the UK. Maybe you have an experience working in one of the big fours as an auditor.
Yeah.
You need to understand that you are not applying for jobs within Nigeria. You're applying for jobs in the UK, and UK dwells a lot on experience. So you should try and ensure that your CV highlights those experiences. In Nigeria, we're a lot about certificates, education. He has 3 master's degree. It's more of the paper.
So
exactly. Here is exactly more of the experience.
The experience.
I'm not saying that experience is not admired in Nigeria. It's very much admired, but a lot of times, we'll look at things like, what's this person's age? What certifications does this person have?
How does that really, the age? Does that really matter in terms of achieving something in a workplace?
To be honest, it does not, because I've had the opportunity to work here, and I have some colleagues that are way younger than me and some that are way older than me, and they are doing the job quite well. The important thing is having that ability to do the job. Achieving set goals, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think that should limit anyone. So let me go back to the CV now. You need to go through the job application, try and understand what are they looking for. That is one, and ensure that your current experiences or job experiences or education, whatever it is, ensure that it matches what they're looking for, in the sense that it highlights those strengths.
Yeah.
So for instance, if they're looking for someone that has maybe an experience in a, say, I'll just use my general customer service role, for instance, and let's say you worked in the bank, you worked in operations, you were, say, a branch manager. You actually did a lot of customer service working in the bank, because people come into the bank, especially in Nigeria, come to complain. You have to try and resolve their issues and everything. That is customer service. So if you're going to apply for that role, why not say those things that you did? Don't just say, oh, you were the branch manager, you manage people, because in actual fact, you did a lot of customer service, you did a lot of, customer satisfaction and everything. So it's important that you highlight your skills, ensure that it's also very ATS compliant, because a lot of times when you apply for jobs here, before it gets to the recruiter, the main recruiter or the HR person, there's like an AI system that scans your CV. So if you're there writing 10, 20 lines of professional summary, I am this, that, giving them so much story, the system might just skip you and just push your CV aside.
And nothing aligned to...
Exactly. So there are a lot of tools on the internet, that you could use to scan your CV to see if it matches, the job you're trying to apply for, to look for keywords that are missing, which, are part of the experiences you have. So you try to leverage on all those tools.
So it's
some
about
of them you have
tailoring
to pay for
your
CV
and your experience towards that particular job. How would you this is something that just probably just popped into my mind. Would you say it's basically the way our education has been framed that has been part of this this inability to fit into that international job market system?
Well, so I wouldn't say it's because of the type of education that we have. Like I said, the systems are different everywhere. They might be quite similar, but they're still different. So it's important that you need to first come to that realization that you're not applying for a job within your country. You're applying for jobs outside the country, so you have to play by their rules. If you, for instance, if you're playing football as a you're playing football as, that's soccer, which some people in America call. If you're playing the game of soccer or the game of football, you cannot, as a player, use your hands to touch the ball, because, that's actually going to be a foul. In basketball, you can't do the exact opposite. You can't
compare the kind of football we play on the streets.
Exactly. So you need to understand, okay, what am I dealing with? What environment or situation am I in? And then try your best to, tailor your skills, experience, everything to that particular environment. If you even have to pay for services, there are people that offer a lot of consulting when it comes to writing CVs, ensuring your CV's ATS compliance. Pay, it's an investment in your future.
Do you think it's right to pay someone to help you write a CV?
So you're paying them to enhance what you already have. So you already have the skills. You probably, some people have that talent of doing it as an art form, as a skill. So you're telling them, okay, this is the experience I have. Can you help me highlight this? Maybe I'm not so very good at doing it. And like I said, people have experience working in, this organizations or in these industries. So they actually know, okay, what these people are looking for. So they can help you better tailor your CV to fit into those roles. So if you have to spend, say, 100, 200 pounds to get a job that's going to give you 60, 70,000 pounds, I think it's a fair trade if you think about it.
And you know that you'll be able to do the job.
And exactly, very important.
It's not that you not get to the job.
You don't.
They help you to get to the water now.
I would strongly advise against applying for a role that you know nothing about. Because it's an integrity issue if you think about it. Also, because you have denied another person the opportunity, to.
It's going to be even catastrophic because they won't see the person who had helped you.
Exactly.
In terms of that, they will see you, and that's probably will be damaging to your record at the end of the day. So, if one wants to, there'll be some unexpected obstacles in the job market. How do you think people can overcome that? How did you overcome yours?
So before I came into the UK, obviously, like a month or 2 months to the time, I already, in my mind, I already knew I was leaving Nigeria. I didn't wait till I got here before I started applying for jobs. I started applying for jobs from Nigeria. I remember when I came in, can't remember the exact month now. When I came in, I think 3 days, I had applied for a job at Barclays.
Yeah.
About maybe 2-3 weeks before I came into the country. And when I came in, like 3 days when I came into the country, I had an interview with Barclays.
Wow.
So some people don't know that. Some people think, oh, you need to be in the country. So what I did was, I remember I reached out to someone on LinkedIn. I think it was a Nigerian that I saw was working in Barclays. So I asked her a few questions. or how do you go about, preparing for interviews?
Yeah.
What are the strengths that they're looking for? How do you go about answering, interview questions? In Nigeria, if you're doing an interview, they'll probably ask you, what would you do in this situation, or what did you do, or tell us what you did in your current, but in your current job, But in the UK, for instance, a lot of times they want you to use the STAR approach, which is the situation, task, action, and result. So you have to give them a real life situation, the task that you're responsible for, the action you took, and then the result. So most times they are very strict with that, so it's, like I said, you have to try and understand, the environment you're working with. And,
So let me go on to the learning and growth aspect. I'm going to combine two questions because I also want us to touch on how to have personal fulfillment while one is working at an international job. What skills you think, if you want to rate those skills that are needed concerning entering a new career or shift, what, in terms of priority, what skills you think are needed, and what resources can you share with our audience that could be helpful in terms of transiting? Someone is coming from me. You got, even having an interview all the way from Nigeria, while you're still in Nigeria, while you're in Africa, or anywhere in the world, before you even came around here, you got an interview slot. So what are those skills or knowledge, and what are the resources? Matching the two together.
So for skills and knowledge, I think the most important skill is effective communication. You have to be a very good communicator, because you're speaking to people that are different from you. They probably don't understand our lifestyle because you're different, and that's fine. Everybody's different, the whole diversity thing. So you have to be able to communicate effectively. If you're going to convince someone who practically knows nothing about you, he is not aware of any organization that you've worked in that's within the UK, you have to be able to communicate very well, and sell yourself. Show them that you're able to do this job that you're applying for. So you have to put in, if someone who is born and raised there in the UK wants to apply for that role, probably they need to put like 50%, energy in that interview process. You have to put like 250%. And then the resources that you need is, the good thing about the UK is, if you go, in fact, about our current days, if you go on YouTube, I can't remember this. There's a man on YouTube that I follow. I can't remember his name right now. He has a lot of interview tips. So you can watch his
I actually forgotten his name.
You can watch his videos. He tells you how to answer questions on strength, on weaknesses. How to
even ask questions.
How to ask
because
questions.
you must be able to ask questions.
And asking questions. You have to ask intelligent questions. You don't go and ask, do you people maybe share rice every Christmas?
I don't have any questions.
Or say I don't have any questions. You don't approach an interview like that. You have to, also challenge them. Because they've just given you some tough questions. You also have to give them some questions to also make them think, for this person to actually think of this type of question, this is somebody we want around, or this is someone we want to deal with.
What are the kind of questions that you think one should ask? Let me just quickly, even if it's some seconds.
I think one of the questions you should always ask is to try and know what the expectation will be from you when you begin in that role in the first 3 months, 6 months. Because if they're taking you in newly, you should know that they're going to appraise you. So you're telling them, okay, if I'm successful for this role, in the first 3 months, what would be the expectation you expect from? What do you expect from me in terms of my performance, in terms of my deliverables? In the next 6 months, what do you expect? And then 2, you should also ask, what are the challenges that you have observed over your time working in this role? What challenges have you observed that people that are new struggle with? So if you're able to understand these are the challenges most people always have, it makes you prepare your mind to know that, okay, when I come in, these are the steps I need to take to overcome these challenges. And what that does is it gives you an edge. So for instance, if people will take about 3 weeks to complete a training, but because you already know what those challenges are ahead of time, it will probably take you 2 weeks. And that actually helps, boost your appraisal in that organization, and even helps you grow in terms of your career.
Okay. So as we wrap up, let's talk about the issue of personal fulfillment. Some are on their chosen career path, some are changing career paths, some are retired, some are even tired. of change. They are tired of the job they are doing, even at the international market. Even right now, someone is saying all the things that you are saying. I don't know. Does it really apply to me? I'm not fulfilled, and some are yet to even figure out any career path. Talk less of transitions. How do you think migrants can have fulfillment in their career despite working in an overqualified job? Audience can also be part of this. Share your own tips also, because I mean, someone somewhere can read that idea or that advice that you want to give right now. Dami, let's hear yours while our audience keeps putting theirs on the comment section.
Okay, so I think that you don't have to, in order to get fulfillment, and in order for you to at least be happy in what you're doing, it's not a burden that you have to carry alone. Like I said, you can rely on people, friends, your network. You have people that you talk to. Tell them your concerns, and then they can help you address some of these concerns. If you also have to talk to like maybe a career coach, discuss with them.
So
and
it's
say,
good to talk to a career coach.
If you, like I said, to have a winning mentality, you have to do whatever it takes legally.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes legally, to achieve your goals. So
if people can come and talk to me now,
of course,
since I'm a career coach.
Exactly. So if you take talking to a career coach and tell them, well, you know what, I don't really know what to do. These are my skills. These are things I find, that I'm passionate about. Sometimes they're able to guide you and tell you, okay, have you explored this? Have you read about maybe this particular course? There's some people, you don't even have to do something that has to be strictly in the career line. You can say you want to go into construction. You can say you want to be HGV, that's this high hauling vehicle. Exactly. You can be a driver for that type of, maybe an organization, or even buy your own truck. And the good thing about this system is it doesn't discriminate. And how I mean it doesn't discriminate is, if you're doing your job very well, you can be an electrician and you'll be making more money than some people that are even working in banks.
Yes.
So
that's the thing. That's the beauty of the system.
Exactly. It's not going to discriminate you and say, unlike some of where we came from, where if you're not probably working in the bank, or you're not working in one sector in government, you might not be able to.
And I think we just take those kind of work with levity. We don't give them the dignity that they deserve. In terms of you have an electrical fault in your house, and the person comes around. I'm also guilty of that. You just pay the person some peanuts, but you definitely know that someone coming here can charge you like £100 for even doing your electrical stuff for you. So it's about dignity. That are you having dignity in this work, and are you growing in it? And then how can you? Is there any what advice would you give to someone considering migrating for their career? What should they be prepared for, and that they can bring from their previous work into the present one that they have? So
I'll start with the one about dignity and people with the type of jobs where you actually need to use your hands, like the electrician that you mentioned. I remember the first time we got a TV, we wanted to pay someone to come help us fix it, and the amount they called made us buy the tools, and we had to fix it ourselves. And that's because of the system that we have in place in this country. The system back home, we don't really have a minimum wage that people follow. Because if we actually have a minimum wage whereby everybody is paid a certain amount per hour, it will kind of even things out, in the sense that you might be an electrician, but if you work 4 hours, you get the same thing as almost someone who is working in the bank or something. Obviously I'm not talking about very high level in the bank, but like a normal level in the bank. So that's one of the issues with that one, which it's might take a while.
And I think I heard one president saying that they want to start the time measured job thing, and quite a number of people are like, you want to bring that here? We may not agree for you.
So that's the thing. it's the type of system we are in Nigeria, where you don't stop when your contract says 5 o'clock, your work doesn't end by 5. Your work ends when the work ends.
Yeah.
But here, if your contract says 5, you're stopping by 5. If you're going to work anything after 5, they have to pay you for it. So it's the laws that they have and the fact that they are implementing those laws. So if we can successfully have those laws and implement them, then that is possible in that aspect. And then, sorry, can you remind me the last?
It's about what can you bring in terms of from your previous job.
So if you're thinking of migrating, it's important to do your little research and try to find what role am I going for, in this country. Do I want to go into healthcare? Do I want to go into this artisan role, maybe an electrician, or I want to work in construction? What are the certifications that I need to get? What are the trainings that I need to do? Do I want to work in maybe personal security, whatever it is, social media, content creation, whatever it is that you want to do? You need to do your research. You need to plan. You don't just wake up and just come. You have to make that plan.
So let me just touch point on this. Is it possible that you come here from anywhere, as a migrant, or you're already working, and is it possible to have a business?
Yes, it's very possible to have a business.
What do you think one can do? Because I see you as a CEO. And what do you think one needs to do? Just briefly in the next 30 seconds.
So just do your research. That's the first thing. Find what you're good at doing and try to monetize it. So if you're very good at maybe preparing meals, get the certifications, the license you need to get from the council. Registering businesses here very easy if it's not things like charity, just a normal limited liability. It's quite easy. You can check on YouTube. There are videos that will show you how to go about it. So
Okay, so before I give Dami the parting shots part, quite a number of comments online. Olujide, thanks for all of these comments. It says, I believe many people are stuck because they are not aware of many ranges of career that exist.
True.
And as you speak to people and do research, you find out about more interesting roles that are easy for you and align with your strength. And said, yes, I agree with Dami that a lot of us need to explore handiwork and get over the mindset of those jobs being less or inferior. And they also said doing more than what the average people are doing, what you made mention earlier on. So parting shots, Dami speaks. What would you say to someone who is looking at you right now, and probably you just face them, to someone who's looking at you considering that, I want to come for an international job? What are you going to say to him? Or
I would say nothing is impossible if you put your mind to it and you have that mentality of a winner. Believe you can achieve everything as long as you put in the work, and you always also have God by your side.
Nothing is impossible. Put your mind to it. And just as we say, the best practice is challenging your assumption and questioning your standards. And that's it for today on TouchPoint with Tayo. Thank you, Dami.
Thank you very
for
much
coming today. And I'm sure we're going to talk about business later on. I was to bring it up on the issue of business. I want to thank my TouchPoint team and production crew. Thank you, Sam, Bamidele, Baron, and T Crown. Thank my backroom team, researchers and social media team. Thank you so much. The listeners and audience, thank you for joining. And that's it for this week. Remember, life's journey unfolds uniquely. Run your race to attract grace, for it is only within the race that grace finds its way. Join us next week. Next week is going to be a great package because we're talking about tech and women in the UK, black women in UK and tech next week. And that's it. I'm Tayo Oweye. Join me next week for another exciting episode on TouchPoint with Tayo. I wish you a happy night rest. Good night.